you said DHEA for poor responders for 3 to 4 months, it does improve. That has been our personal experience also. My question is, that patient did produce many follicles, good embryos, but did not conceive. Before taking her again into IVF, do you need to give DHEA for 3 months again, or she can continue next cycle, that poor responder?
In the poor responder, there is not a lot of evidence-based medicine studies done. However, I can tell you what I'm doing. I'm giving my patient, if I decide to give them DHEA, and they are poor responders, I continue. I continue for 1 or 2 cycles, because then if she stops and she has to start again for 3 months, she doesn't want to wait so much between one IVF and another IVF, because time is not a positive issue for her. So she's in a rush to do another IVF.
But she can take the next cycle while
Yes.
continuing DHEA, right?
Yes.
And second question, how do you give sildenafil? From which date, from what time to what time?
I can tell you what Jeffrey Shaw. Jeffrey Shaw gave 25 milligrams 3 times daily, 7 days approximately 7 days before egg collection.
Before?
Yes. And when
Before the
normally,
transfer?
yes, and when when I used, I'm not using anymore very often, but we have been using. It's personal communication. We have been using in London, we have a very big program of egg donation. And for recipients, we have been giving, with the estrogens, we have been giving the Viagra alternate day, also 25 milligrams a day.
Starting from day 1?
Starting from day 1, yes.
And you continue until?
We continue until 1 or 2 days after embryo transfer.
You don't continue it further until the result or anymore? No.
But it is only, I have not done a prospective randomized study. You cannot find them in the literature.
Thank you.
And I'm not very much happy about the Viagra. I'm not very much enthusiastic. I didn't see very big surprise with it.
Regarding the autoantibodies that you talked about, the use of steroids, you said it doesn't work, the steroids do not work on organ-specific antibodies. So if there are anti-thyroid antibodies or anti-thyroglobulin antibodies of a very high amount in the patient's serum, would you pinpoint to the fact that that will lead to a failure and we cannot treat it? What is the way out of this situation?
First of all, in anti-thyroid antibodies specifically, though I didn't bring it here because I didn't want to bring a long lecture, but specifically for anti-thyroid antibodies, there have been prospective randomized studies that definitely shows that steroids doesn't work. However, if I have autoantibodies or anti-nuclear factor or antiphospholipid antibodies, even if I have a little bit high progesterone or testosterone, I give steroids. I give steroids also in repeated unexplained failed implantation, because the doses that we give are not very high and we don't give them for long term, and there are studies to here and to here, but still there is no definitive way to say yes, give steroids.
Because we have observed that those who have anti-thyroglobulin antibodies are very, very difficult to conceive these patients, to make them conceive, even through IVF. It has been really a long battle, a series of patients that we have tried at our center for almost last 10 to 12 years. Hardly we have ever got a success with this kind of patient. So is there any way out? Is there a new window to treat this thyroid problem? Because say whether oocyte donation would help if the patient's own eggs are not responding.
Unfortunately, everything is empiric. I mean, in very rare cases, when I want to not to lose a battle, I've never used IVIG, but I know that people use IVIG. And also in autoantibodies, my experience is different because there's ups and downs, and I have patients with severe lupus that conceived, and the severe cases of autoantibodies that conceived even without steroids. So it's very difficult to say. It's very difficult to say.
Well, in that case, would this patient have an option of surrogacy? Who doesn't produce any
Yes,
thyroid
it is a good idea to do surrogacy. Maybe in India it's easy, but in Israel surrogacy is a saga of 2 years until you get a surrogate. So, and it's not free of charge. You know, every country, sometimes medicine has to bend according to the rules. So in our country, a patient can come again and again and again to do IVF. She will not pay anything. And then she has to pay $100,000 for surrogacy. So she prefers to do steroids and heparin and aspirin IVIG and not to do surrogacy. In other countries where surrogacy is more available, obviously is the best thing to do when you have repeated failures.
Is there any role of probiotics used to improve the vaginal flora in previous IVF failures, like Ecoflora and Prepro available in the market?
I'm not aware of any studies, not even pilot studies, not prospective, not randomized, and not retrospective studies. The only studies that I can think that might be close to the probiotics as antibiotics studies that have shown by some groups to double the pregnancy rate, but other groups show that it doesn't change. I mean, if you wash the vagina and you wash the tip of you wash the cervix and you flash it, and you put the catheter very, very gently through the cervix, and everything is okay, I don't see why there is a problem, and so I don't see how probiotics can improve the pregnancy. I didn't see that candidiasis or any thrush decreases the success rate of IVF. So logically, I don't think it will work, but you might try to do a prospective randomized study.
Thank you.
Did you try the combination of growth hormone and DHEA?
Yes.
Growth hormone and DHEA in poor responders, and what is your experience?
It's a very exciting option. I've not tried, and maybe you should do a prospective randomized study very quickly, because it's DHEA is going now, to my feeling, to be a very, very popular drug, and it might work.